Hey everybody, it's Rob here at etrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the CURT Class 2 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2019 Hyundai Tucson. Now here's what our hitch is going to look like once we have it installed. I think it has a really clean, almost factory look, and part of that is because the cross tube is going to be hidden behind the bumper, and all we're going to see is the receiver tube sticking out. Now it is a Class 2, which means it's going to give us an 1.25" by 1.25" receiver tube opening. This is very great for light duty towing. Maybe if you want to take a couple bikes with you, you can put a bike rack in there. Or if we need to make some room, we could put a small cargo carrier back here, load some of the gear up, make some more room inside. But regardless of how you're going to be using your hitch, all of the accessories are going to mount through the hitch pin hole here on this side. Now the hitch is going to accept a standard 1/2" pin and clip. Now these are not going to come with the hitch, but you can find them here at etrailer.com, along with some locking devices and anti-rattle devices to cut down on the annoying sound coming from the receiver tube and to make sure all your accessories are secure. Now if you are going to be doing some light-duty towing, maybe you have a jet ski trailer or a small utility trailer that you're going to pull, a few things to keep in mind is one, there is a specific drawbar that's made for our hitch, and again it is sold separately, but you can find it here at eTrailer. The other thing you want to keep in mind is your safety chain connection points. Obviously you need to hook up your safety chains, and here we got a plate style with pretty large openings on them. You have what I consider most normal size hooks. We'll have plenty of room to get them hooked on, take them off. We won't have to worry about interfering or potentially hitting the bottom of our Tucson. Same thing if you have some oversized hooks, a little bit larger. There's plenty of room to get those hooked on, move them around in case it interferes with the pin and clip, and still have plenty of room to take them off. Now, weight capacity is definitely going to be important when you're looking for a hitch, because if you're looking for one, you obviously have something you want to do. Again, whether that's a bike rack, towing a trailer, so we need to know that it can handle the task that we put it to. So our hitch is going to have a 350-pound tongue weight. That's going to be the maximum downward force at the end of the receiver tube. It's also going to have a 3,500-pound gross trailer weight rating. That's how much it can pull, but that does include the trailer and the load we have on it. So with those numbers in mind, I still urge you to double check your Tucson's owner's manual, because those are the ratings for our hitch, and we don't want to exceed the manufacturer's rating for our car. I'd like to give a few measurements, and these are going to help you whenever you're looking for accessories for your new hitch. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, it's going to be right about 4.5 inches. Now that measurement is going to help you out when you're looking at folding accessories to make sure you have enough room to put them in the upright stored position and not make contact with the rear bumper. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, it's right about 14.5 inches. Now at that height, I would definitely recommend a bike rack or a cargo carrier with a raised shank. That way we get a little bit more ground clearance out of it. Now that we've seen what our hitch looks like and gone over some of the features, let's go ahead and bring in the shop and go through the installation together so you can have the confidence to do it at home. To begin our installation, we want to come to the back of our Tucson, and we're going to move to the very outer edge right behind the rear tire. Now we should have a plastic panel on each side. These need to come down. So if we follow along the edge here, we're going to have a few plastic push pin fasteners we're going to have to take out. The little notch on there. We're going to grab a trim panel tool or a flat blade screwdriver. We're going to pop out the center section first, coming underneath that center piece, and then the rest of the push pin will come out. Popping that center out takes all the tension off of the clip, and it'll allow the rest of it to come out. So we're just going to go through, pull these out, and we'll have another push pin. It's actually going to be on the very edge of the wheel well liner, going towards the back, right at the corner right here. It's a little hard to see, but we need to pull this one out as well. So that'll loosen up the bottom section. There's actually 2 retaining clips that are holding the panel in place. They're not like normal nuts where they'll actually come off. They're actually built into the panel. So you just want to grab the panel on either side and pull down. And the clip may get stuck. If it does, that's all right. We can just grab it with our hands. We'll unthread it. And you just pop it back into the panel, make sure it's all the way in there and seated all the way. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but it should snap right back in place. Now we're going to move over to the passenger side and remove the panel the same way over there. With the panel removed, that'll expose our frame rail. On the bottom, we're going to have 2 threaded holes. Those are going to be 2 mounting locations. If we look at the side of the frame, we're going to have 2 more threaded holes. Those are going to be 4 locations on each side. Now, we don't have anything that's actually covering these weld nuts up, so however long you've had your vehicle, these have been exposed to the elements. So I'm going to take a little bit of spray lubricant, I'm going to spray it inside the weld nut, then come back with a nylon toothbrush, make sure it's nice and clean, there's no dirt, debris, or rust in there that'll cause the bolts to cross thread. So we want to go through and clean out each one of the weld nuts, and we can come back and test one of the new bolts and make sure it threads in easy by hand. We'll have these 4 locations on both sides of the vehicle, so we'll clean these out, move to the other side, and clean those out as well. Again, it's not a bad idea to double check, make sure you can thread the bolts in by hand, but each one of our mounting locations, the 2 on the bottom and the 2 on the side, are going to get one of the new bolts from our kit. We're going to follow it up with a conical tooth washer. There's little teeth on there. The teeth need to be facing towards the hitch. It's just a little bit easier for me to show you the combination now rather than trying to do it all when the hitch is going in place. But I suggest getting an extra set of hands to help you lift it up. Now that the hitch is extremely heavy, but it does span from each side of the car, so it's a little bit easier with an extra set of hands. So now we're going to want to lift our passenger side up first. You're going to want to go over the exhaust and kind of rotate it. We want to line up the holes in the hitch with the holes in the frame. Now I like to get the ones on the bottom started first. They're the easiest to get to and you can see them really well. And once we get at least one bolt in place, the hitch will hold itself, and then we can work on getting the rest of the hardware in. And again, each one of the bolt holes is going to get the same combination of bolt and conical tooth washer. And once you have all your hardware loosely in place, you want to grab a 17mm socket and go through and snug all the bolts down. We'll come back with that same 17mm socket. And we're going to torque all of our hardware down to the specified amount in the instructions. You want to make sure you go back and repeat that for any remaining hardware that you have. Then we can take our panels. It's just a matter of putting them back in place. Now, the one thing I do want to mention, it's actually really easy to get these panels back in once you get it lined up. Those 2 retaining nuts, those will actually hold on those studs. If we just push the panel up, it'll lock them in. So again, we'll just get it real loosely lined up. We get those studs lined up. And once we do, we just push up, and the panel almost lines itself back up. You're just going to put the push pins back in. You want to make sure you leave the center section still sticking out. And get all 4 legs in of the push pin, and then push the center to lock it down. It's going to be how all the push pins work. Just go through and replace them all. Once you have that last push pin in and all your panels are back in place, that'll finish up your installation and your look at the CURT Class 2 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2019 Hyundai Tucson.